Nation, welcome to Oiler Insider. I'm Tim Montgomery along with Director of Athletics Jim Givens, and this program is designed to keep you up to date on all Oiler athletics all the time, and a lot of things going on. This program origination was you and me talking a couple of weeks ago, and we were watching football and excited about an undefeated football team, but also excited about what volleyball was doing in men's and women's soccer, and we got the idea that this would be a great opportunity to let Oiler Nation know what everything is going on, because so many things are trending positive for the Oilers right now, and we want to share that news.
Yeah, no question, Tim. And first and foremost, thank you for everything that you do for the Oilers. And you know, certainly you and I have a history, and we go back a long ways. And I have developed a lot of trust in what you do for us game to game. And it's much different without you, and we appreciate it. But more importantly, yes, the Oilers are hot. The Oilers are, you know, we had a great year last year. I think there are many of us that thought that it was going to take a Herculean effort to surpass what we did last year. And as far as the fall goes, we're ahead of where we were at. So very proud of our staff, very proud of our student athletes, the commitment, the dedication that they have put in day to day is not matched, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
Well, let's start off doing a segment we're going to call Headlines, where we kind of keep the quick hit on everything that goes on. And we'll start off with probably the biggest news from the weekend, and that is Oilers continue to be unbeaten. They improved to 9-0 overall, 7-0 in conference play. Big 31-16 win at Hance Stadium at Northwood University, a place that the Oilers have never won.
Yeah, that was a big time win for us, and what a great atmosphere. They had D2 rejects, the Division II show there. That was really a nice setup, and had a really good following. As you mentioned, we've struggled there in the past. So going into this, we were probably, although we were undefeated, I would say we were probably underdogs because of that. I thought we came out and we were very physical on both sides of the ball. And I think that created some issues for Northwood. Northwood is a football team that traditionally, at least this year anyway, does not turn the ball over, and they put it on the ground a couple of times, and a couple of times it hurt them. So Coach Allen and his staff, you know, they had a great week of preparation. They were down a few guys, still down a few guys. So for them to be able to go to Northwood, to go to Midland, of all places, and really take care of business in a convincing manner, big win, big time win, and certainly our eyes are set for a different color this week.
One of the big things that I said with Coach Allen in the post-game interview was that at Hance Stadium, crazy things happen every time the Oilers are there. And in the past, it's maybe gotten the best of the Oilers. They happened again this past week, but the Oilers persevered and responded back, and I really thought that was the difference.
No question. I think the turning point was the turnover that we had, and then play later that Northwood ran, they turned it over, and that was on our side of the field. So that turned out to be, in my mind, the play of the game, and our guys just put the hammer down, and you know, we were able, as we typically try to do, run the football. You know, we've got a couple of backs in Chris Davis and Jalen Farmer. They're good backs. Thunder and Lightning. They are. I would not want to be in front of them. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. Let's move on to some of the other sports. Men's and women's soccer getting ready to wrap things up. Both had wins over the weekend. At the time of our recording, they're preparing to play regular season finales against Tiffin, and postseason just ahead for both these teams. So they'd love to be going in on a positive note. And when you look at the men's team, especially last year, to reference back, get in and anything can happen. I think both these teams can make some extended postseason runs.
Yeah, you would like to think that last year's experience with the conference tournament would help them. They know that they can play with anybody in our league. They have so far this year. They have been very good as of late. Our conference, I think, is very strong when it comes to men's soccer. And our guys have met the challenge. They work extremely hard, put a lot of time in, and they're really they're in a good place right now. Tiffin is tough, as usual. They had a great win against Ashland in terrible weather. So I think confidence is high, and I expect them to go deep into our tournament.
On the women's side, I really like what Sierra Tom's doing with this team. You see a difference in the attitude, the way she's recruited over the last season or so, and I think she's seeing the results she hopes to see as well. A much more aggressive and dominant form of soccer.
Yeah, I think this is a classic case of the play is dictated by, how their coach was as a player. Sierra was very gritty. She was very tough. She has a lot of expectations for her players. She recruits gritty, tough young ladies that are very, very good students. And I think that shows on the soccer field. We have really played well. Certainly exceeded my expectation for this year. I was a little bit worried coming in, considering all of the young ladies that we lost. Sierra was able to fill them, and the future is bright for our women's soccer program.
Volleyball picks up its 5th straight win that is 3-set sweeps, which winning 5 in a row at this level is pretty impressive by itself, but to do them in sweeps in all 5 of those really reflects back on what Coach Wick and the whole crew have got going right now.
Yeah, I give Coach Wick a lot of credit, because it would be real easy for our girls to, in some of those games, just kind of take it easy and take your foot off of the throttle, and we haven't done it. I think they're on a mission after last year. They proved to themselves what they could do at Ferris and making the Sweet 16. I mean, it was very, very impressive, certainly fun to watch, and I think that really kind of lit a fire for our women's volleyball program, and I think the future is bright, and I'm really looking forward what the rest of the season holds.
Let's talk a little cross country. This is one of the sports we don't normally get much to talk about, and it's one of the reasons I'm excited about this program. And you talk about cross country sent some athletes to nationals last year, which was a great stepping forward, and you see that kind of carrying into this year. They're getting ready to go. They come out of the conference tournament, getting ready to head to regionals in Kenosha this coming weekend. And really, we're seeing that, like all the Oilers sports, as we're talking about, trending up.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Coach Eric Weimer has done a tremendous job with our men's and women's cross-country programs. When he started, I believe our rosters were at 12, and he's at 44, which is incredible. So huge effort by him when it comes to recruiting, and not only is he recruiting the numbers, but he's recruiting quality. And he knows what he is doing in terms of cross country. Cross country is a sport that not a lot of people are familiar with, and it is grueling. It is tough. It takes a special person to be able to do what they do. I want no parts of it. I would love to see you do it, but we have some special young men and women that put their time in, have dedicated a lot of time, and certainly committed a lot of themselves into the program.
A couple of sports that have finished their fall season, but want to talk about them. Let's start with men's and women's tennis. And it was not that long ago that men's and women's tennis, as far as being a relevant entity, was not, to be frankly honest. Over these last 4 or 5 years, you've seen a continuous build with the programs. And they closed out with the doubles competition, some impressive wins on both the men's and women's side.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be interesting to see how the spring goes, where we get into conference play in our conference tournament. But this fall, as typical, they played a lot of very difficult programs, a lot of Division I programs. Yes. To his credit, Jeff Westmeyer has done an amazing job. And he has done that through tireless recruiting and bringing in wonderful young men and women who are, again, committed to their craft. And he is proved to be a good leader. Big things from our men's and women's tennis programs.
And then one that we're going to talk about in more detail in our next segment, but to wrap up things here in our opening segment, men's and women's golf have wrapped up their fall seasons as well. And we know what the women can do. I think there were some people who made the mistake that thought that the Mulcahy sisters have graduated, so the day has passed for University of Findlay women's golf. That is not the case. They continue to build on that, get their first ever #1 ranking that the program has ever had. And on the men's side, it was just a nice, continuous, steady incline of success, concluding with winning their own invitational.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. With Mary Kelly and Aaron not involved on the course so much anymore, I think the natural reaction would be, oh, well, here we go. And our girls, I think they took that a little bit personal, and they jumped right out and went to the Folds of Honor, played well there, got a lot of TV exposure. They went to Grand Valley after that and qualified for next year's Folds of Honor, which people who don't follow golf should look at that. That event. It is an incredible event, an unbelievable mission, and to qualify for that in a Division II school, we were the only one. So, and if you looked at our pairing and who we were playing with, it's the real thing. And our girls learned a lot from it. They kept improving, and to be #1, you think about that, #1 in the entire nation at the University of Findlay. That is very, very, very impressive, and it's a testament to Coach Guarneri in how he runs his program and the types of student athletes that he recruits. Steve Mulcahy, his assistant, does a fabulous job teaching and recruiting. And they have built something very, very special there, and we are extremely proud of what they do, and we're happy that they are representing the University of Findlay.
Well, and it rolls into the men's program as well. We've
100%.
seen a steady growth over the last couple of seasons, and as I said, they were at Folds of Honor on the men's side as well, had a nice performance for them, worked their way up, and like I said, then you win your invitational and do it in dramatic fashion on top of that.
Yeah, I think the men have made more strides actually this year than the women, which we haven't been able to say in a while, and I think that the guys have seen the success that the women had and said, hey, we can do that too. And they have committed themselves. They're at the golf course every day, and they certainly are determined to match the women right now, and that's going to make for a special time.
All right, that's going to wrap up our opening headlines. We're going to take this brief break. Come back, we're going to take a deeper dive into men's and women's golf here on Oiler Insider.
The environmental health, safety, and sustainability field is growing rapidly, with opportunities in safety, environmental protection, sustainability, policy, worker safety, public health, and emergency response. EHSS graduates from the University of Findlay have gone on to work for Fortune 500 companies across the United States, along with federal and local agencies, to assist and lead in compliance, training, mitigation strategies, and innovative sustainability achievements. If you want to make a difference in the environment or any of these areas, this program will give you the knowledge, network, and opportunities to do so. Learn how you can be the voice for change in an evolving and critical industry by visiting findlay.edu/EHSS or UFindlayEHSS on Instagram.
Back to Oiler Insider. Tim Montgomery, Jim Givens here with you. Time to take a deeper dive, and I want to take a deeper dive into men's and women's golf. We've talked about some of the key players in the equation. I want to start with Coach Dom and Coach Steve, and they really have brought something different over these last few years. Coach Steve named one of the best teachers, not just in the state, but in the country. And certainly he's sought after by a lot of people, not just University of Findlay athletes. And as you said, Coach Dom has elevated the level of player that we're bringing in here as well.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, Steve has done a tremendous job in helping grow our program and make them into what we are today. I will tell you that there's probably no better recruiter on our campus than Dom. He's an alum. He has a great affinity for this place, as many of us do. family is a big part of how he recruits and is a big part of his program. And that makes it even more special. He understands what it takes to thrive in this environment at this level. And I think he's done a really, really good job of bringing that to both of our programs. But he's also done a really, really good job of bringing that to some of our other sports. And that's what a place like Findlay should be all about. I think Steve has learned a lot. Certainly, teaching the game of golf is his forte. And he's not going to struggle in that capacity. He's never had to recruit. He's never had to sit in a meeting room and listen to me talk about something other than golf. He hasn't had to do that. So he's had a lot of adjustment. And Dom has been right by his side to help, along with our student athletes, because that's what they do. That's what a family does. So very proud of both of them and what they are building here. And I think the sky is the limit.
I'm just hoping Steve can fix your slice one of these days.
Yeah.
As far as that goes. One last thing on that. You talk about being ingrained in the university, and it is wonderful to me. I don't know that I've ever been at a university sporting event here at home, and Dom hasn't walked in to be either a participant or to help in some capacity with the athletic department.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I have stayed here for the past 28 years. I'm so fortunate enough to get the opportunity to coach here and to work as an administrator here besides so many good people. And you know, Dom is at most of our events, as a lot of our coaches are. And again, what I found over the last 10 to 15 years is this place is different than a lot of places. I think sometimes our head coaches, our assistant coaches, and even our student athletes forget that. They're not quite sure what they have. Typical of student athletes, they see what's in front of them. And it takes a little while for them to catch on that, you know what, this is a special place full of special people. But most importantly, you're one of us. You're part of this family, and we all help each other. We all cheer for each other. We all cry when things don't go the way that they're supposed to go. And that's why this place is why it is. I mean, it is just the people make the place for sure here, and this place is unbelievable.
Well, let's talk about the athletes, people who actually make these things happen. Let's
Yeah.
start on the women's side, and certainly a number of solid performances, but Ashley Duffalo seems to be the person who stepped up and decided is going to bridge that gap into what was the last several years and going forward here.
Yeah, Ashley's done a tremendous job. She's actually a really, really good example of, you know, when you come here as a freshman, you have no idea what it's going to be like, and you're thrown in to competition, and you can say 18 holes is 18 holes, but it's different. And she found that out real quick. You can go one of two ways at that point. You can either say, hey, I've got to do something different, or I'm just going to kind of give in. And Ashley was never going to do that. I remember following her around with her mom and dad at the national championship in Florida. It was 95 degrees. They had to play 36 holes. She played really well the first round, and she started to drag, you know, on the second 18. And, you know, I saw a lot. She didn't finish the way she wanted to finish. But she was going to finish. And that told me a lot about Ashley, and to see how what kind of a player she is now has been amazing. I think Coach Steve has helped immensely in that area. But I think Dom's leadership in maintaining confidence with all of his student athletes, especially with somebody like Ashley, who is a leader on our team, that's meant the world, and I'm really, really proud of how she's persevered through some tough times.
I'll throw on top of that, this is a team sport, and what really has set Findlay apart the last few years is the team. Historically, there's been a golfer here or a golfer there. Talk a little bit about some of the other players that round out this team, because to have the team success that they've had, it takes more than just one.
Yeah, you know, we have a couple of good stories, and Ellie Yutzel. She came in she came to campus and as a freshman, and she wasn't on the golf team. Really, her sister plays at Bowling Green, and all of a sudden she comes to Dom and says, "I think I do want to play." And lo and behold, she's one of our top in our lineup every weekend. She, at the national tournament, she had an unbelievable showing. I mean, she was literally, and I followed her around quite a bit, she was at times 40 yards past her competitor because she hits it so far. And so I think she's somebody that can really lead.
On the men's side, Luke Metzger's kind of put his stamp on the men's team to large being in that leadership role for them.
Yeah, Luke he's one of my favorite guys around. He is so pleasant. If you are ever around Luke much and you watch him, no matter if it's going good or bad, he always has a smile on his face. Every time that I see him, he will come up and he'll punch me in the arm, and I'll punch him back, and he smiles. And again, I think that's a tribute to Coach Guarneri and what he's built in this program, and guys like Luke, they get it. And he can hit a golf ball, by the way, too. Pretty darn good. So all the guys, I mean, they their numbers are really, really good in terms of how many guys are in the program, how many gals are in the program. We could talk for days and days about all of them. And they are all just so dedicated to Coach Guarneri and Steve and take it so seriously. And I think there's something to be said for that. And oh, by the way, academically, they're our top team.
That's exactly where I was going next. Is we talk all the time. You and I have been doing interviews like this for over 20 years. And one of the things we always talk about at the University of Findlay, we absolutely want good student athletes, but we want them to be the student part of that as well. And then we also want them to be good citizens, which we're going to talk more about later as well. When you talk golf, you're talking about two of the top academic, not just here at the university, but across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And we for our department to have a 3.57 GPA, cumulative GPA, is incredible. When that was presented to me the first time, I said, that's not possible. We need to make sure it's correct before we get this out, because that's a very high number and people are going to question. Sent it to several different people on campus, and then they all came back the same. I would have brought that down. You would have probably, you would have been fine. You would have contributed to that. I would not have.
I would have to have been good at a sport, though, for it to really matter.
Well, I would have brought it down, so I would have failed in terms of that. But I don't think people realize that accomplishment, and we don't talk about it enough, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Well,
Thank you.
We're going to talk a lot about it over the course of this program this year. All right, that's going to wrap up this segment. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at what's ahead in Oiler athletics here on Oiler Insider with Tim Montgomery and Jim Givens.
The University of Findlay Department of Media and Communication offers 3 majors: journalism and digital media, public relations, and organizational communication. Comm majors have the opportunity to be leaders in our on-campus media outlets, including UFTV, 88.3 WLFC, and Pulse News, our award-winning student newspaper. Students can join the Pulse Media Club and participate in a number of digital media production events and experiences. Whether it's shooting and editing video, creating PR campaigns, crafting social media strategy, or writing in-depth news stories, our goal is to help students become great storytellers. Alumni of our department work in a variety of communication careers, including news anchor and reporter, copy editor and page designer, digital marketing manager, social media community management specialist, and many more. You can find more about how to get on the path to success at findlay.edu/communication. It's where you can develop meaningful lives and productive careers.
Welcome back to Oiler Insider. I'm Tim Montgomery along with Director of Athletics Jim Givens, and we're going to do Oiler preview here. Take a look at what's ahead, and again, we're doing this ahead of time. In some cases, some of these events are tomorrow, some of them are next week, but we're going to do our best to try to give a little preview. And let's start where we started the program, and that's football. Heading into one of the biggest matchups in recent history here, heading to Ashland. Coach Allen has the team focused, coming off perhaps their best performance of the year with that 31-15 win, but the only other team in the GMAC that's ranked, that's Ashland, and that's always a big matchup when the Eagles and the Oilers match up.
Yeah, 100%. It doesn't matter if it's football or if it's, whatever sport. That's going to be the biggest game that we have that week for sure. And I do not remember the past. You might be able to help me with this, but I don't remember when there's been as much on the line in the Findlay-Ashland football game as there is this week. So I know that Coach Allen, he has worked extremely hard. He is preparing the guys. They came off of an impressive win against Northwood, so we're going to hopefully ride that momentum. Going to Ashland is a tough place. They are going to have a big crowd because there's a lot at stake for this game. They have a beautiful facility there. You've seen it. The support that they get for their football program is very, very good. So I think that it's important that our guys get off the bus and get off to a good start really fast. I think that it is two teams that are equally matched, both very physical on both sides of the football. I think my opinion is it's going to come down to how we throw the football. We have been one of the best, if not the best, running football programs in our conference. I think that they're going to do everything they can to stop Jaden and Chris. So we're going to have to be able to counter with throwing the football and throwing the football effectively. I would not be surprised if we saw maybe a 2-quarterback attack at times because we have that weapon.
This has turned into a de facto conference title game for the most part. When you look at it, if the Oilers win this one, it doesn't really matter what happens in week 10 or week 11, other than we know it's the war for 224, and more on that later. But as you said, I don't know that there's much been on the line here. And the last time these two teams met at Ashland was an all-time classic, multiple overtimes.
Yes, it was. And there's a lot more that people may not realize at stake when it comes to national recognition in terms of, hey, if we win this game on Saturday and take care of business at home with Tiffin, we're probably going to be a 2 seed in be right behind Ferris State, which means we would be able to host a game this year in Division II. I actually am on the National Football Committee for Division II. This year's the first year that there will not be byes. So for us to be in a position to host a game is really kind of neat. We've submitted our bids to host, and we certainly feel good about winning one of our last 2 to get in. That's what my mindset is right now. I hope that stays true. But certainly an opportunity that to go into a space that we haven't been for some time in football.
Take a look at volleyball, a big homestand, 4 straight over the next couple of weeks here. First up, KWC and Thomas More, and then the next week it's Northwood and Hillsdale, and Oilers currently at the top of the North Division here, so this is going to be huge.
No, 100%. I mean, anytime Hillsdale and Findlay play, it doesn't matter what the records are, and it's going to be an unbelievable match, and I think, as I mentioned before, I think Coach Kochagoff has done a really, really good job of getting mindsets the right way, getting mindsets right. They're not going to take anything for granted. They got a taste of it last year, and I think that it tasted pretty good to most of our girls. So I think they're pretty hungry, and they're practicing still very, very hard. I watch them from upstairs almost every day, and they are an intense group. And I think that they have their eye on replicating what happened last year, except moving forward.
We kind of alluded to before cross country. coming up here with regionals at Kenosha, and then who knows what happens from there.
Yeah, Kenosha, that's a long trip for us. So certainly for our cross-country student athletes, just travel alone is a piece of that whole experience and their ability to kind of overcome what that travel brings with you. I know that Coach Weimer will have them in the right mindset, and I actually expect really good things from them as far as results.
All right, so plenty of opportunities for people to get out and see what the Oilers are all about and what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back with the Athletic Director's Corner when we return. Talk about things that nobody sees except the staff and what goes on behind the scenes to make all of this positive with Oiler athletics happen. That's coming up on Oiler Insider.
Want to be a radio DJ? Produce interesting and fun podcasts? How about learning to create your own YouTube sports show? These are just some of the things you can do majoring in media and communication at the University of Findlay. Our campus radio station, 88.3 WLFC, is located at the center of campus in the AMU. And UFTV has transformed into a video streaming powerhouse, covering athletics and a number of other campus events. There are countless opportunities for students interested in digital media production and content creation, as experienced faculty and staff offer a guiding hand to work toward professional accomplishments. It's here where you can develop meaningful lives and productive careers.
Welcome back to Oiler Insider. Tim Montgomery, Jim Givens, and we're going to be calling this Athletic Director's Corner, for lack of a better term. And we're in a weird spot here, Jim, and that is fall sports is winding down, as we talked about. Tennis and golf have closed down. Others are in postseason, like we said, with cross country. Soccer is right there in that process. Football not far away as well. But at the same time, you got winter going. I mean, wrestling was at the Pioneer Open this past weekend, had a nice showing there. Swim has been up and running for a couple of weeks now, and they're off and running. That certainly creates a lot of challenges. Maybe at Division I where the staffs are bigger, maybe that's not as big of a deal, but you have a tremendous staff who do a tremendous job, and this time of year it really tests that.
Yeah, there's no question. I think the fall, winter, and then winter, spring are the two times during a year where really it becomes a little bit taxing on our staff. I feel extremely blessed to be able to have the staff that we have administratively here at the University of Findlay. The support that we get is phenomenal. Kyle Neerman and Meredith Whipper, doing everything and all sports information. Kyle, you will hear him announce at volleyball games. Everybody does everything. It's a all hands on deck. We're fortunate that David Buck, who is our senior associate AD, he has experience in sports information. So when we get into those times when it's pretty hectic, we have some people that aren't afraid and that have some experience of getting their hands dirty. But I can't say enough about our entire staff, and that goes even to compliance and Derek Downs. I think you've met Derek. Krista Swanigan is our financial aid person in athletics, and they are all in-house in this building, and coaches are able to come take care of issues while getting a smile on their face, and that's the most important thing.
And then you have the glue, Lisa Coleman, that holds all of you together at the end.
Yeah, I can't forget Lisa. She is actually 100% the glue, and super glue wouldn't even be the word to it, but she certainly does an amazing job of everything that she does. But I think the biggest piece of what Lisa does that maybe sometimes our staff doesn't realize is she holds us accountable. She is always there to say, are you sure you want to do that? Because in the past, you've done this. And that's really important for a staff to have somebody like that. We all tend to get going in all of our different directions in what we do. And her head is always on a swivel. She's married to a football coach, so she gets that, and I think she does an amazing job of doing that.
You mentioned Kyle and Meredith, and worth noting, Meredith is a former athlete here at the university as well, part of the women's golf team. But the two of them, the last 2 years, have been recognized as outstanding sports information departments in the conference, and then most recently, several awards for they do tremendous video work and other things, and it's so great to see members of the staff being recognized for those kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm a little upset for you for saying that because I don't want to lose them. They are phenomenal. They're so good at what they do, and they work extremely hard at their craft. They remain humble. They should be praised. They should receive those awards because what they do is there aren't too many Division II schools that are doing what they're doing. In fact, there are some Division I schools that aren't even doing what they're doing. So we'll keep that a secret, and hopefully people just notice that and don't say anything. But the biggest piece of all of that is the type of people that they are. To come to work with those people every day. Again, I'm very, very fortunate, and it really shows when those tough times come to us. The one thing that you'll always see, and I think everybody in this room will attest, that they'll always see a smile. And I think that is so important to me, and I talk a lot about that with our entire staff, and the importance of that.
Last thing in AD's Corner, I want to talk about recent Hall of Fame inductions, and always an exciting event. I know that I'm getting older because more and more of the inductees over the last few years were either classmates or I've covered them in this capacity since then. Talk about the Hall of Fame, because you guys really do a first-class job.
Yeah, David takes care of everything Hall of Fame and does a really, really good job. We used to have it in February every year, and we changed it to homecoming, and we're looking at making some other changes. But in terms of the event itself, it is a classy, intimate setting. It's a really, really good event where it does truly showcase. It's not about the institution, it's about our people and our family. And this year Kayla, Justin, and Frank all had a wonderful time. It was good seeing all of them. Fortunately, we get to see Kayla because she's around this area, but Frank lives in Colorado now, in Denver. He had a great basketball career, and Justin, we'll never have anybody win 4 national championships again, probably. And to see what he looks like now compared to what he looked like back then is amazing. But it is truly it's a great night, and it's so good to see all of them come back and say thank you and cry and hug, and it's a great event.
Next time we're going to talk about Oiler Choice Awards.
Yes.
All right, that's going to wrap up AD's Corner. It's going to wrap up our first edition of Oiler Inside here. For Jim Givens, I'm Tim Montgomery. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time.